Welcome to Amplified Chaos. No rules, no filters, no apologies. Just raw talk, wild stories, and unapologetic voices that turn the volume all the way up. So turn it up, settle in, and let's make some noise because quiet's overrated.
All right, I need a coffee. And it's Starbucks K-Pod pumpkin spice with Starbucks pumpkin spice creamer. Because it's pumpkin season, okay? It's pumpkin season. It is what it is. But I plan on dropping these at least once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on how often you want to, see my face and hear my voice. And what we have to talk about. It might require twice a week. We'll see. You may just want to learn more about my life and everything that I do on a daily basis and how crazy my household is. We can turn this into more than Dr. Phil episode. We can turn this into, this is Jessica, this is her life, this is what she goes through on a daily basis, and this is how she survives. Okay, we can do that if that's what you want. But for now, we're just gonna do like me telling you my story and give you, advice. So if we kind of want to roll it back a little bit to what we talked about the last time about the ex, it still blows my mind the fact that this dude got pissed off at me for filing for divorce, but was off in another country meeting his new girlfriend and wanting me to be okay with him going to meet this girl. I don't really understand what Twilight fucking zone he was in or which Twilight zone he actually is still in. Maybe he's in Tales from the Crypt. I don't really know. Take your pick on one of those damn shows. But the fact that he literally doesn't see that that was an issue, it blows my mind, okay? Like, I get it. If you check out and you want out of the relationship, then do it appropriately. Don't be going behind my back and then using your narcissistic ass to blame it on me. Like, anyone that listened to the last podcast would understand that I literally lived with the biggest narcissist ever. Like, he's going to sit there and tell you he's not, which we all know, hello, they're not going to admit to it. But the fact that all of the years we were together, and it wasn't even that I didn't think anything of it, I just was like, kind of blew it off, because, it is what it is. Looking back, hindsight, 2020, yeah, I get it, and I should have done it back then, but when I grew up, like, what I was dealing with was pretty common, so I didn't think anything of it at the time. The more and more shit comes out, the more and more I'm like, well, fuck, I should have walked like 15 years ago. I should have walked the very first fucking time that I questioned when we were at a bar. We literally went with a group to a bar, okay? I worked at the retail store right next door, and like we would all get together. So he actually worked at a hospital. So the employees from his department and me and some of my friends that I worked with at the retail store all got together and went to the bar together. We were all chilling out, hanging out. Okay. I was dealing with some personal stuff as well. My dad was going through some things, and not to go into detail, I was sitting there and look over, and there's literally a woman who worked in my ex's department running her hand up and down his leg, like putting it on his leg. Okay, she was doing it to another guy, which was his friend on the opposite side. Like, seriously? I'm like, okay, whatever. So my dad called me and I had to go outside. I went out on the patio. This was like October. And it was cool out. Like, it was cool out. So I went out and I was out there for like a good hour and a half. And I was talking to my dad on the phone, trying to talk to him, calm him down and stuff. All the while, the ex is still sitting in there and like chilling out with her and like laughing and joking, and it's no big deal. Here I am outside, literally on the verge of a breakdown, trying to talk to my dad. My dad is honestly one of the strongest ass people that I know. Like, my dad is a 6'4", like lumberjack, okay? He's got the beard, he's got the long hair. He's always wearing like flannel, checker print, plaid, whatever, Carhartt, like that kind of shit. Okay. So for my dad to break down on the phone with me said a lot. My dad was comfortable enough to talk to me about what was going on, says everything that needs to be said. The fact he trusted me with what was going on is huge. And for my dad to open up to me in the sense that he literally was having a breakdown on the phone with me and actually crying, honestly, couldn't have pulled my heartstrings anymore, because I know my dad. I know how strong my dad is. I've seen my dad cry. I don't remember him crying when my grandmother passed away, his mom, because I was only 8. So I don't really remember much of that. And they kind of kept me away from that when my grandmother had passed away. Like, I went to the wake and stuff, but they kind of kept me away from all of the stuff going on. But when my grandfather, my mom's dad, passed away in August before my freshman year of high school, my dad and my grandfather were really close. They may not have been, like father-son, but my dad and my grandfather hit it off really well, like very quickly. So when my grandfather passed away, my grandfather and I were very close. I'm the oldest grandchild out of 3 girls. There's only 3 of us, period, on my mom's side, okay? My mom had 2, me and my sister, and my uncle had 1. The other 3 kids didn't have children for, various reasons, which is okay. But literally the 3 of us, and we're relatively close in age. My sister and I are 4 years apart. My sister and my cousin are 2 years apart. So literally my cousin and I are 6 years apart. So we're relatively close in age. I used to babysit my cousin actually when she was younger. So the fact that I was super, super close with my grandfather, because obviously I'm the oldest granddaughter. I was the only granddaughter for 4 years. Only grandchild, period. So of course we got close. So it hit me hard when he had passed away. And I literally was breaking down while we were sitting there, because he wanted to be buried out in the woods, because my grandfather used to love hunting. So they were burying him out of the woods. He was cremated. So we were all waiting to go out into the woods where he wanted to be, put and stuff. And then eventually they were going to bring his headstone in and put it on the rock or the ground where he wanted to be. So the fact that my dad came over as I'm breaking down and my dad starts breaking down, that's the first time that I've ever really witnessed my dad breaking down in front of people. So that shows you the type of relationship I have with my dad. Like, growing up, we weren't always the closest. I think deep down we were, but I was so damn rebellious when I was a teenager. My dad saw a lot of himself in me, because my dad was pretty damn rebellious when he was a teen. Hippie, smoking pot. My dad literally is a child from the 50s. So you do the math, okay? So the fact that we were so similar, and the fact that super rebellious. I was always getting in trouble. I was always suspended from school. I was kicked off the bus. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Like, it hasn't changed, okay? It is how it is. But, I'm an adult. I take care of my 3 kids. Like, I am very responsible, even though I was a wild-ass child. So I think the fact that we were so similar, that's why my dad kind of, distanced himself, but really didn't. So as I got older and stuff, we've gotten closer. Like, I hadn't seen my dad when I went home in February in person since 2013. So 12 years I hadn't seen my dad in person. Like, I've seen him on FaceTime, like when I talk to my sister, like my sister will FaceTime me and stuff. So I've seen him that way. Not often, because we don't FaceTime as often, but it was a long ass time. So with everything that my dad was going through and has gone through the last few years, and then throw in the fact he hadn't seen me in so long, it was pretty emotional when we actually got together. There's this big burly 6'4" dude. I mean, my dad's like 200 pounds, so it's not like he's like giant, whatever. But the fact that this big burly dude with this big beard and long hair is like upset and almost crying because his child he hasn't seen in years is finally in front of him is huge. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going back to the bar situation. So the fact that my dad trusts me enough to do that. So he literally is talking to me on the phone crying, and I'm trying to talk my dad down. I'm trying to convince him, you know, shit happens. We will get through it. I'm here for you. I support you in anything you need. But you know what? Just let it go for the moment. We will talk about it. We will do what we need to do, but don't let what's going on like dictate what you're going to do. Okay? So as I'm out there on the friggin' patio talking to my dad, my friends came out and checked on me to make sure I was okay. The ex came out to check on me one time and I told him, yeah, I was fine. But anyone that knows me knows when I go, yeah, I'm fine, knows shit's about to hit the fan, and I am the furthest fucking thing from fine. Okay? I'm a Cancer. So anyone that follows like horoscopes and all of that shit, like, you know what a Cancer is. You know, like, we literally will bend over backwards for everybody, but we are guarded as fuck, and we're gonna tell you we're fine to your face when we're literally fuming on the inside and we're about ready to start World War III. So the fact that he completely was like, okay, no big deal, and went back inside and completely dismissed the shit that I was dealing with, nah. So, not happy. So when I did go back inside, she's still got her hand on his leg, and I'm like, okay, whatever. We get into the car to go home. I confront him about it, and he goes, no, she's just having a hard time with her. She's getting divorced or whatever, and she's just having a hard time. And I was like, so that gives her the right to put her hands all over your leg and the other friend's leg? Like, that's not acceptable, dude. So he literally was trying to, like, gaslight it and be narcissistic about it and completely flip the scenario in his favor. And I'm thinking to myself, in no way, shape, or form is this ever gonna make you look good. It makes you look like an asshat. Like, proverbial asshat, dude. Like, seriously. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So then is when I should have walked, okay? And that was 2006, 2007. I should have walked back then. But then it goes back to, well, if I walked, I wouldn't have my kids, and I can't imagine not having my kids. It's one of those fucked up catch-22 situations that I can't imagine not having my kids. So as much shit as I had to deal with back then, I'm glad that I dealt with it for the kids. And it also made me one hell of a strong-ass bitch. And I'm more resilient than I ever have been. And I've always been resilient. I've been one that I'll walk through the flames and I will come out on the other side completely untouched. And that's how I always have been. So the fact that that literally just strengthened me even more, all the shit that I had to deal with over the years. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow. And then it goes back to, okay, when we would go places, I would get blamed for anybody that looked at me. Like, seriously? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to control somebody that looks at me? Like, what do you want me to do? Wave my magic fucking wand? What do I look like? Fucking Hermione? No. Like, just fuck off with that shit. Like, it's not my fault if people look at me. So, I don't do anything to elicit reactions. You see my face? This is what I look like. There's a little blush on there. There's some, a little concealer under my eyes because I'm anemic, so my eyes are always dark underneath them. So to cover them up a little bit, I put those on. I do my eyebrows. I have some bronzer on there, some blush. There's some highlighter. And that's it. And every once in a while, I'll do mascara. I didn't feel like mascara today because my right eye is a little watery. But literally, like, yeah, back then I did my eye makeup more. Like, I know how to do it. I just choose not to because I ain't got time for that shit. I got 3 kids. What the fuck am I gonna do with 3 fucking kids? I literally get up at 5:45 in the morning and I get my teeth brushed. I wash my face. If I have time, I put moisturizer on my face before I bring the kids, get the kids up. And then at 6 o'clock, I'm literally getting the 3 kids up. I go in, I get my 2 kids up that sleep in the same room because they have a bunk bed. Then I go get my other one up because he sleeps by himself because, he's a big boy and he's 7 and he thinks he runs the world. And that he can, whatever is going through his head at the moment. So literally, I get them up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We go through the motions, get teeth brushed, sunscreen put on because we live in San Antonio. My kids need sunscreen. Same with San Diego. They wore sunscreen there too. So I've got to put sunscreen on 3 children. And it's not like the spray kind. It's literally the container of like, it's like a sun on it. It's like a kid's one. It's like white and green or whatever. I can never remember the name of it. But literally, I'm rolling this on their legs, their arms, their neck, their face. 3 kids in literally like 25, 30 minutes max is the amount of time, because I let them sleep till 6. Yes, I could get them up a little bit earlier so they have a little more time, but my kids like to go to school and they go have breakfast. So they like to eat breakfast at school. So we get up, brush teeth, get them dressed, do whatever we need to do, put their sunscreen on, get them all ready. I grab either a Rockstar or I make coffee, because there is no way in hell that I'm walking 3 children 0.4 miles, yeah, that's how far we live from the school, without some form of caffeine at 6:30 in the morning. My youngest has to be to school by 6:45 because his bus actually leaves at 6:45. So he has to ride a bus because he's in pre-K, and they didn't have pre-K where his brother and sister go to school, which is right down the street. So next year he'll actually go to school with them, so it's not so bad. But literally we won't have to get up as early because they don't have to be to school until like 7:20. So we'll be able to be there at like 7. But I gotta walk them to school. So we do that, which I can't, there's no way in hell. Like, trust me, the conversations I have with my kids at that time in the morning, yeah. There's some crazy conversations. My kids are, seriously, all of my kids are a different version of me. The youngest is me 2.0, 100%. He is a hellhound like no other. He picks up my sweet side and my feisty side. My little girl, she literally is super, super sweet, but she's sassy as hell. She is mama 2.0 in that. My oldest, he's very shy and reserved, which anyone that knows me, I do have that side. People that know me don't see it very often because I'm comfortable around these people. So of course they see the side that my true self, my sarcastic, sassy ass self, that no filters, no fucks given. So it's just crazy how much personality my kids have that are uniquely to me. So I apologize now, guys. There might be an apocalypse happening if you've got a face with my kids at some point. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, no. So it just goes back to that. But I'm just like, okay, I know, sidetracked. I know, guys, I know. This is my problem. But that's the thing is, like, I can't imagine not having my kids. So yes, even though like the narcissistic asshole that I married was a narcissistic asshole, I couldn't imagine not having those children. But the amount of emotional abuse that I had to deal with over the years, and he thinks that he dealt with emotional abuse from me. But yet, he was the one that whenever somebody looked at me, he would get upset with me and make comments to me about it. I don't control people. Like, I don't have remote controls that go around and they're like smart and like, you know, program people. That's not how it works. So to get mad at me about that is insanity to me, okay? When we lived, actually, and this was after he had taken a job traveling, we lived in Virginia for a while. And some reason, I had actually become friends with one of the travelers that worked with him. Like, we would all, like, everybody in his department, we'd go out drinking, we'd go out, like, Friday night, Saturday nights, at least once or twice a month. We'd go out to eat, we'd go out to the bar, whatever. But somewhere along the lines, it got to the point that this woman felt comfortable enough to, like, flirt with him. So there had to have been some form of reciprocation, because she's not going to do it without permission. Like, I mean, she may, but from what I gathered when I spent time with her, this isn't the type of person she was. So, you know, my instincts are usually pretty spot on. So unless my radar was off that during that period, which never usually is, there had to have been some form of reciprocation. So the fact that she would like show up to the apartment that the company he worked for was renting us. And he'd be like, don't let her in. Don't let her in. I don't want to deal with her. She's been like super clingy at work. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean she's been like super clingy at work? Like, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's not making any sense to me whatsoever. I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, whatever. So everything was fine there. He traveled for a few more years and we never had any other issues. Then we got to San Diego and he started hanging out with, there's a traveler that came in that he became buddies with. Okay, no big deal. But this dude, like, he completely changed when he hung out with this dude. Like, started treating me like weird and like I don't know, he was just being very weird. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So at that point, we actually broke up for a little bit. We were still living together, but I was like, I'm considering divorce, honestly, because I don't know what the fuck's going on with you, but this shit has to stop. So it was my fault that things were happening. And I'm thinking to myself, no, this is not a one-way street, dude. This is a two-way street. It's not just me. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but okay, whatever. Then it turned out the guy that he was hanging out with was going around like trying to get every freaking woman in the department that they worked in, like the overall department, like, I don't know, like trying to sleep with all of them or some shit, because he had flirted with one of this, I think she was a secretary or something. And so bad that she actually left her husband for this guy, but then she ended up going back to her husband. But all the while the ex was being very weird, this dude was literally like flirting with me, and I blew it off. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And then we literally were separated. I had gone to Las Vegas a couple times because I just wanted to be out of the hotel. I didn't want to be anywhere near him, because at the time we were staying in a hotel because we didn't know if we would stay in San Diego permanently, because he had just taken the job traveling. And it's only like a 13-week contract. Well, they extended it a few times, and then finally they offered him a full-time position. And I was like, okay, no big deal. So I went to Vegas twice, and I was like, I just need to be away. So I went away, I went shopping in Vegas. I came home, you know, I bought a new bag, and I just hung out, walked the strip, because I love walking around Vegas. Even when it's hot out, like, I love walking around because I love the lights. I love how it reminds me of New York. Like, it's always hustle and bustle. Like, even though it's hot out, people are like having fun. New York is a different kind of hustle and bustle. Like, they're like bunnies going back and forth to work. Like, they're going 100 miles a minute. So it's a totally different vibe. So it always reminded me of New York in the sense that there was always people around, and it was always that, you know, it was lively. So I loved going to Vegas, and it was cheap because San Diego to Vegas was nothing. So I was like, okay, I'll just go. And I went shopping at the Forums. I just walked up and down the strip and just would hang out. You know, I didn't really do anything. Like, I went to the play slots one time just so I could have drinks, but for the most part, I just chilled out in Vegas and enjoyed being by myself and being able to breathe. Well, apparently during that time, he was talking to a woman in an online game that we were both playing. Do we see the similarities to what I told you in the last episode? Yeah. Instead of talking to me about what was going on in his head with our relationship, he was talking to this woman who was also going through something similar with her husband. So they connected that way, and she was trying to convince him to leave me to move with her. So instead of actually talking to me, he went behind my back and talked to my parents and talked to my sister to find out what he should do. And talking to this other woman, but couldn't talk to me to tell me what he was thinking. Yeah, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then that dude that was working with him got really creepy. Like, he called one night and was talking to the ex, and asked the ex to put me on the phone because he wanted to talk to me, give me shit. I get on the phone and I was like, hey, yo, what's up? He literally starts flirting with me, telling me that I should leave the ex to go with him. Excuse me, what? Like, what? Excuse me? Like, what in the Twilight Zone are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay, no, like laughing off. I was like, nah, that's not how this is gonna work. Like, not at all. So I handed the phone back to the ex. I was pissed. Like, I was honestly pissed. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, seriously bullshit. And then he tried accusing me of cheating because I was talking to my friends on the phone. Like, I would go outside and talk to my friend and my best friend on the phone. Like, I won't say my other friend. I used to talk to her all the time because obviously I don't talk to her in a while and haven't talked to her in years. So obviously I'm not going to bring up who she is. But I would go outside and I would talk on the phone. And I started talking to random people. Like, I was like, okay, if you're going to talk to this woman, fine, I'm just going to talk to people. And I literally would just talk to anybody. And he was like, well, you're cheating on me with people. No, I'm literally talking to people because every time I try and talk to you, it turns into something that is not. Like, I try and have a conversation with you about what the fuck's going on, and it turns into, well, that's not what's happening. And like accusing me, and I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm literally sitting here. I quit my job and started traveling across country with you, and you're treating me like shit. Like, honestly, like shit. And then you want me to sit in this hotel room and do nothing while you're working and expect me to be happy? I'm a very social person. Like, I'm going to tell you I hate people, but honestly, I'm a very social person. Like, I enjoy talking to people. It doesn't mean I want to be in front of them or like in their face. Like, I don't have to be face to face with people, but I enjoy talking to people. And that's what I was doing. I was talking to everybody. Men, women, like all of it. Okay. When they started getting weird, that's when I was like, all right, no, this is not what I asked. I literally am just talking to you as friends. So he accused me of cheating on him, and I'm thinking to myself, but yet you're telling this woman all about our relationship, and she's trying to convince you to go to where she lived, to leave your wife, to go move with her. But I'm cheating on you. Nobody's asking me to leave you and come move in with you. I literally, yeah, the one guy did, but I'm like, no. But he literally is entertaining it enough because I was in Vegas one time by myself. I called him up and I was like, all right, I'm so damn tired of all this shit going on. I want to come home early. Like, I'm going to consider coming home early. Literally spent 5 minutes on the phone with me. Well, if you want to come home early, change your flight. The minute I hung up with him, you know what he did? Because he was already talking to this woman on the phone before I called. Hung up with her to answer my call. Hung up with me and called her back. While I'm sitting here and being like, I want to come home. Like, we need to figure this shit out because I'm tired of this shit. So basically it was telling me that I'm cheating on him, but yet he's the one literally on the phone with this woman, hanging up with this woman to talk to me for 5 minutes, then calling her back. But I'm cheating? I hung out with two little old ladies one time in Vegas because we literally were walking to the crosswalk and they saw my bag. I had bought like a hot pink Coach bag. And they absolutely loved it. So I started talking to these two little ladies. They had to have been in their 60s, 70s, okay? They'd been friends for years. They were one lived in New Jersey, one lived in New York, or they both were from New Jersey and one had moved to New York or whatever. But literally, I just was talking to them. We started walking down towards, not the Bellagio, but the Venetian on the other side. And we were talking. And they invited me to go have drinks with them. So we went to the bar downstairs in the Venetian and they ordered drinks, actually got me a drink. And we were just sitting there just talking about life in general and stuff. And one of the ladies, her daughter actually worked for a famous chef. So she wanted to get a reservation at the new restaurant he had opened in the Venetian. So I went upstairs with them and we got her, a reservation. So that's when we went downstairs in the bar and we were just talking, whatever. And they were just, talking about life. So literally I went and hung out with two little old ladies in Vegas, but yeah, he's talking to some woman about everything going on. So obviously that connection was more important than trying to fix whatever was going on. So when I did finally get home, I was like, dude, we need to figure this shit out. Like, if you want out, you want out. So, and he was telling me he was talking to his cousin, which he was talking to his cousin, but not as much as he was saying he was, but talking to this woman, but I was cheating on him. I was like, okay, whatever. And then it came to, he was working at the same place, you know, a couple years later, and one of the people that worked in his department, she was actually a biller. She actually made a comment because I guess she honestly thought something was going on with him and another biller or whatever she is. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, honestly, I don't know. So we went out to eat one day, and she's like, yeah, she's like, honestly, I thought something was going on because the way they hang out together. And I was like, news to me. So clearly this was a pattern for him that if somebody paid him attention, he'd jump on it. Like, he'd jump ship no matter what. I went into his office one day, and there's a picture of him like cuddled up to one of his other coworkers that worked in one of the other departments. And he's like all cozy, like wedged in, giving her a hug and stuff. And I was like, you know, that's completely inappropriate for a married man to be posting, like having it hang on his office wall. He goes, we're just friends. And I was like, I understand that. And I know this woman just had a baby and, you know, she's happy. But other people that come in and see this, unacceptable. It also came up, there was a rep that came in, and he must have been flirting with her because she goes, well, she gave him her number and was like, well, I want to get together with you and your wife. She had just gone through a divorce. Well, one of the other women that actually worked in the department that had been there for years told him, she's like, that's highly inappropriate. So he actually had to tell her what was going on. And I was like, yeah, I was like, no, that's not acceptable. The fact that she's going through a divorce and she's trying to she wants to hang out with you, but using the guise of hanging out with your wife too. Yeah, no. So clearly it's a pattern. It's a pattern. It's been a pattern. So I'm not honestly shocked what happened, but at the same time, like, fuck, you know? So the fact that he literally was gaslighting and using his narcissistic bullshit to justify saying that I was cheating on him when he was the one clearly cheating is insane to me. Like, seriously insane. I don't really understand how you can justify saying I'm cheating on you when you're the one that's been doing it for years. He told me that I was emotionally abusive because I was sending gifts to our mutual friend in that Discord chat that he was in when he used to send gifts, like get into the gift wars with us. It was an emotional abuse. Okay. So what was all of that shit over the years telling me that you weren't cheating? You know, it was all in my head and basically doing the exact same thing. Like when I was in college, he used to always make sure he would come to college with me. Like I went to the beach one time with some of my friends and he accused me of cheating on him with one of the dude had to have been like 18 and I at the time was like 27, 28. Trust me, I'm not cheating on you with an 18-year-old. What the fuck is wrong with you? Literally told me, oh, you're cheating on him. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, well, I see the way you look at him. I'm like, what? Literally, I'm helping him. We're in chemistry and humanities class together. Literally, I started taking my bachelor's late. And I'm like, what? I'm literally at the beach with one of my girlfriends, which I'm still really good friends with, and two other girls, plus you had to drag your ass with us because God forbid the 5-year-old man had to bring his ass with the college students. Like I'm hanging out with people that I go to school with. So he would interject himself all the time. And then I was cheating on him because somebody looked at me or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, I went to the beach with my girlfriend and she invited the other one, which she liked. So I'm very confused, like how, yeah, needless to say, and it was my fault. We went to a baseball game with employees that he worked with, and one of the guys was talking about how hot I was. I'm sitting right here and okay, thanks. Talking to him, I wouldn't let her out of my sight. Oh, thank you. I clearly am a prized possession. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are we in the fucking caveman era? Like, what in the Twilight Zone is this bullshit? Like, seriously. You're literally talking about me like I'm not even existing and I'm just sitting right beside you. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, whenever anyone would tell him, oh, your wife is beautiful, you're so lucky, I would get the brunt of it. Like, it would be my fault. And I'm like, I can't tell people what to say. Like, do I look like I'm a little robot in their head? No, I'm not. I'm not a microchip. Like, Jesus Christ. Do you see the issue? Yeah. So it was insanity to me. Like, I was always accused of cheating on him, yet he was the one doing it all. But it's my fault? Okay, Mr. Narcissist, do you want your medal or your chest to pin it on? Like, honestly, where are we fucking at with this? Because I feel like a Twilight Zone, like serious Twilight Zone. Like, I don't know. We'll touch a little more base on this in just a minute. I will make 2 videos and I'll post both of them back to back.
If you survived this episode, congrats, you're one of us now. Go ahead and rate, review, and follow Amplified Chaos before you pretend to be productive again. Because let's be real, you'll be back for more. Stay loud, stay bold, stay unapologetic.